What's going on YouTube today? We're gonna start on the customer car, getting Supercharger up in here. If you guys were on the last video, I showed you a little bit of this car, but it's really super clean S2000. She brought it to me from New Jersey. It has a really nice password JDM intake with the ram air in the front. Of course, that's all gonna get removed, but she's gone AM standalone, bigger fuel injectors, bigger fuel pump, supercharger, science of speed kit with a Novi. I believe it's the 1200 Novi. Doing a water front mount set up in the front with a pump. So I got to remove all this. And then we're going to get under the car, see about where we're going to stick our O2 sensor. She got a wideband. We're going to throw that in the car, and she'll be making some good power. So we're going to get started. It is a used kit, so hopefully I got everything for this. We did run into some problems. This is seized on to here pretty bad, to the point where this will not come off. So I'm not really sure. I guess we're just gonna keep it on there, throw a bolt on here, and just keep the setup. But you can see the key is down in there, but this will not come off. It's seized in. So I could probably heat it up maybe, and maybe get it off. But we're just gonna leave it on there for now and see what she wants to do later on. But these are really good kits. This is the Novi 1200. Same blower I had on my car, so they work really well. We're moving pretty good here. We got the whole password JDM intake stuff off. Got the bumper off. The bumper actually wasn't being held on by very much. Like, really it wasn't. But so I think what I'm gonna do first is I'm probably gonna go ahead and rip off the fuel stuff. She's got fuel injectors that are gonna go in, and then we'll start probably gonna do the front mount water system and pump first. Make sure we got all the wiring and all that stuff. All right, we finally got the front exchanger on. Took me a little bit to figure out how they ran these brackets, but I think we got it. So she's up there. Now I gotta run the hose. I took all the evap stuff out over there. So yeah, we'll go ahead and put the fittings on, mount the water pump hose. I was gonna do the injectors, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna get everything in first, and it will idle fine with those injectors. So I might put everything in, get it to idle and stuff. It's already got the AEM hooked up and it runs good. So yeah, I gotta finish up these hoses. We didn't get too far. We took the pulley off, and then I took this out, and that's a crack in the pulley snout there, all the way through, right at the key. So I don't trust that at all. So these are made at SOS, and they drill them out to put this guy in. The factory one doesn't have the holes, so I'll have to call Science of Speed, and I'm gonna have to get a whole lower setup here. So once again, that's kind of and this is pretty banged up too. It's got all kind of marks all over it, but that's kind of the risk you take buying used. Also, another problem, this guy is seized on here. There's normally a bolt and a locking washer setup on here, but this is completely, and the key's down in there, of course, but I can't get this off. I've tried prying this. You can see the previous people also tried to pry this off. You can see all the pry marks. Trying to get this guy off. I might try to torch it and see if it'll come off, but yeah, we'll see. I got it. It's really hot. Put water on it, but I used some MAP gas and got her off. So she's off, and you can see it had some corrosion in there. So I'm gonna try to get this key off, and if I can get the key out, I'm gonna clean this up with some emery cloth and some WD-40, clean up that snout, and we're gonna get new pulleys. So I cleaned up the compressor. We're actually missing one of these bolts that hold them on, so I figured I'd take it apart, make sure everything looked okay. And everything does. Everything looks fine. A little dirty, but cleaned it up. So yeah, we're looking good. So I know, a lot of guys like to save some money by buying used, but then you're going to be paying your guy to clean everything up, because this stuff was absolutely disgusting. So I had to pressure wash everything off and try to clean everything up as best I can. All this stuff is covered in grease and disgusting. So I cleaned everything up. So we are gonna have to be waiting on some parts, unfortunately. So we need injector clips, because these didn't come with injector clips. We're waiting on a fuel pump. The fuel pump that had with this used kit is a used fuel pump. It's sitting in a bag. I can see like crusty dirt everywhere. And I just told her, I said, I wouldn't trust this fuel pump. I'd just get a new pump. They're not that much money. And you don't want to put a used fuel pump in your car and get down the road, halfway down the road, and it burns out, and it's not worth it. So I told her, let's just get a new fuel pump. We have to get a new crank pulley. We got to get a new upper pulley. So we're gonna be waiting on some parts. There's also a couple bolts that typically come with the SOS kit. Bolt, they supply a lot longer one because there's a big bracket that goes here. Same with over here, they supply a lot bigger bolt because there's a bracket that goes here. That's not in the kit. There's also a bolt in the backside of the VTEC solenoid that's also not in the kit. So be contacting Science of Speed and getting a little order together so they can ship me out all the stuff that I need. So her car's gonna be sitting a little bit while we wait on some parts. All right, well, what's going on, guys? So we finally got some parts from Science of Speed. We got our new pulley, brand new. I already swapped the ring over. We got our S hose, so that way the after cooler can fit. We got our longer bolts, and I also went ahead and got new rubbers for the mounts because these were pretty tore up. And then in there is the drain for the return. I also had to get some clips for her water pump. I had to get some clips for injectors, didn't have any of those. Got a brand new 255 fuel pump from Walbro. So we're looking pretty good here. We just got to get to work. Kind of put everything back to stock here. I did have some stuff mocked up, but I had to move the car around. So today we're gonna really tear into it. We're gonna get the crank pulley back off with a new crank pulley on. We're gonna put the adapter plates and everything. We're gonna route everything up. We're gonna put everything together. We're not gonna run in, we have the water lines they're ran up, but I'm not gonna put any water. I just wanna get the supercharger installed, the oil lines hooked up, and make sure that everything crank-wise is working good. And then we'll start worrying about hooking the water lines up, filling the system with water. And then next will be our fuel. I gotta do injectors. I gotta do the in-tank 255 pump, and then map sensor, and then it'd be tuning time. So let's get started. So we got our hose on. So what that allows is that to fit there, because the stock one just goes straight back, and so this kind of leaves out a little void for it. We got our brackets on, the VTEC bracket there. got our pulley on. There was 2 bolts that were rounded out, so I left this one out. You gotta go to the hardware store and find what this is and get a couple more. I might actually just get all new ones so that we have fresh heads on it, but we're getting there. Made a coolant mess there, of course, because I had to cut the pipe, but getting close. I'm gonna take a quick lunch break and come on back out. Next, we're gonna put the actual bracket on that has the supercharger with new rubbers and stuff. So we're getting really close. It won't be really much longer until the supercharger's on and we can plumb everything up. All right, we are getting somewhere. Super tight fit, as you can see. This stuff is really tight. But anyways, got everything slammed in there. It looks like this is a wastegate flange, and it looks like they were trying to control boost via wastegate, which there is a way to do that. But it looks like they clamped it off, and we have the blow-off valve up here, which is really tight. I've actually never seen them up there. Normally they're on that. That's where I had mine when I had the same setup. But this is a Novi 1200. It's a pretty good blower. It's in pretty good shape. I just gotta get the oil lines ran and the return ran, and everything else is hooked up. I got the belts in there, pulleys on, serpentine belts in there. Talk about tight. I remember this is bringing back some good old memories. But everything's in. Again, I do need to get some more bolts for that lower crank pulley, which means a lot of this will have to come off. As you can see, I didn't clamp anything up. I just kind of stuck that in there, make sure everything fits good. And once I run the lines, I'm gonna go ahead and start it. Make sure everything's working, make sure blower sounds good. And then what I'll probably do next is we will probably start to go ahead and do the fuel system. I'm gonna have to go out and get those Allen bolts for the supercharger adapter. I don't wanna forget that, but once we get the fuel line on and those bolts, we'll start clamping everything up and start building a tune for this. Probably not gonna happen anytime soon. I should be able to get the fuel stuff done today, I think. We'll see kind of other stuff I run into, but I'm gonna go ahead and run these oil lines and go from there. All right, guys, well, we are ready. We got our oil lines, we got our drain line there, and we also hooked up the blow-off valve to the intake manifold. Eliminated a couple of vac lines that we don't need anymore. So I think we're good. We're going to go ahead and start it up. It'll be on the stock tune. It'll start up, still got stock injectors, stock map sensor. So it should start up and idle fine. Of course, we will put the 4-bar or 3-bar map sensor on once we go to tune and stuff. But right now, I just wanna make sure the blower's working, everything's mounted, everything's tight, everything looks good to go. All right, we should be good to go. I'm gonna hook the laptop up. I got everything filled back up. It's definitely gonna need some coolant, but we'll worry about that later. I'm literally only gonna idle it for a minute or so just to make sure we don't have any leaks, make sure the blower sounds okay. This is a used kit, so I just wanna make sure everything's working. All right, here we go. First startup. Sounding good. Reminds me a lot of my old blower. No leaks. That's good. Everything's running good here. I think we're in business. All right, I'm going ahead and I'm hooking all these hoses up now for our aftercooler. So basically what this guy does is it's a water to air intercooler. So there's a pump over here. It's gonna pump our water through our system. And then it goes to this is what actually cools it down, goes through the front, it pumps it, and it pumps it up to another air to water intercooler. That's what that big gold brick is. And that has essentially this inside of it, but this is cooling the water, that is cooling the air. So it changes. So cool water goes to that, air flows through that and makes the air cooler. So that's kind of how they work. They work pretty well, but once the water gets hot enough, it starts to kind of it starts getting heat soaked, and you'll start seeing pretty high temperatures. If you really want to see really, really good temps, you have to have like an ice box. But of course, that's not really streetable because you got to keep filling your ice box up. So it's not streetable at all. So what we're gonna do is right now, I'm just getting all these fittings and make sure everything fits. Get all these hoses set up. That sucker is tight. I had the same system on my car a while ago, back when I first got it, and I tell you, the Supercharger on the s2000 is really awesome feeling, because you get the exact same feeling as an all motor, but you have the high revving at 20, and it's basically just puts it on steroids. I mean, the Supercharger, it keeps its linear power band, of course, and the Supercharger just adds that linear boost, and it really just makes a motor just so strong and crisp feeling. It's really fun. The Superchargers are extremely fun. If you just want a nice cruiser street car, these kits are really awesome. All right, we're about to fill her up. We got all the lines ran down here. We got our wiring, grounds there. Yeah, it's got plenty of slack. And then power wire goes all the way up to the ignition. So when she turns her key, the water pump will start pumping. If you guys are putting, I need to tighten up that. If you guys are putting these on, you gotta make sure that you have the wiring correct and the routing correct. Okay, there's a certain way they want these hoses, because one of the hoses almost kind of gravity feeds back to here, and then the pump is sucking and pushing it back up. So make sure you get your lines all the correct way. All right, we got our bleeder on. We bled the water system here, and it seems to be moving. I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna undo this guy. You're supposed to be able to see water movement there. So I don't know if there's some air pockets or what, but we're gonna run it and see how it runs here. See if we can see water movement with the app. Well guys, we got a good running car. Bleeding it actually didn't take a whole lot. I think it was just the hose that we lost a little bit of coolant, but it's sounding awesome. We didn't get to the fuel today, possibly tomorrow, or I might have to wait till next week because I got a work trip coming up, and just not gonna be able to get everything ready for work and work on the car here. But we got a lot done today, so whole Supercharger's in. Had her here the laptop. Everything was looking really good. Doesn't have the actual 3-bar tune in it yet. It's just a stock map. and I'm just seeing how it runs. But everything sounds really good, which is good. I needed to throw a lot of bits and pieces. That was weird. Had to throw a lot of bits and pieces of bolts here and there. That's kind of thing. When you buy a used kit, a lot of times you don't always get everything that you should. I had to call Science of Speed and get some stuff. I had to go to the hardware store and buy some stuff. So, and I'm still need to go get some bolts for that lower crank pulley, so that way we can have all the bolts in there. So once we get all that stuff buttoned up, I'm going to do something. I need to figure out something for an intake. The guy sent a really hideous looking, it looks like he bought some dryer hose and made some kind of cold air intake. It looked awful. So what I'm thinking about doing, Science of Speed does have a nice little, it's like a 120 angle, and then the filter sits off here to the side. I don't know if I'll call Science of Speed, see how much they'll cost, or if I'll put something together myself. I'll have to talk to the customer and see what she wants to do. But I know the Science of Speed one looks pretty clean, and I think she'd like that. But so we got all the clamps set up and everything's looking good. So we should be good to go. Well, guys, that's going to do it for part one of the Supercharger build. Be back in a week or so. I got a lot of stuff going on here. Got to go to the work trip. Got to take my car back. I actually had a little bit of a scare. We went testing yesterday, and my catch can got too full, overfilled, and didn't realize it. And after the pass, my car was just white smoking like crazy. And I thought I did something. Buddy was out there with me. He said, you know, well, if your catch can's full, maybe a backfed or shot oil into the motor. After we emptied the catch can, started it up, smoke went away, and everything was fine. I made 6 hits yesterday and went pretty well. I was kind of doing dig or die testing. And then I came home, I still bore scoped the cylinders, and everything looked great. So I guess it was the catch can issue. So I actually brought the catch can in, I cleaned it up really good, emptied it out, cleaned the filter so it's breathing good again. So that's good to go. It looks like Jamie is going to have me build his car. That means that car's got to get all tore apart. Motor's got to come out. So that's going to be kind of my winter customer. Dylan was last year. It looks like Jamie's going to be this year. Supercharger cars should be done, I'd say, in 2 or 3 weeks, just depending on what's hitting me with the schedule. But all I have to do yet is fuel system and tune. So once I do fuel injectors and fuel pump, I should be able to knock the tune out in a day and a half or so, and we'll be good to go. And she'll be making some great power. So I think she'll be really happy. She's gonna be happy to see this video finally getting her car supercharged, and it sounds awesome. Anyway, guys, really appreciate it. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you like what you're watching. I will catch you guys on the next video. See you.